Record on this computer.
Got it. You're recording, Allison.
Hi,
Hi. I want to share something.
please.
And I'm sharing this because you might actually find them. I wear large pants, underpants to bed, like knickers.
Where are we You know we're recording.
Yeah, I do.
You wear large under. Hi, I'm Mia.
Yeah, so
I wear
hi.
large
So I wear a
underpants.
vest. I wear a vest and I wear big girls' pants. We
Okay.
call them pants. You would call them trousers, but they're not trousers, they're knickers.
Keep going.
So I wear them. And then, and anyway, so downstairs in my house is the laundry room. So I came down this morning. I was going to go to the lake. I did go to the lake. And I had my vest and my pants on. There was nobody else in the house. And so that thing where you take your pants off, knickers, take your pants off, and they go down to the bottom of your legs.
Yeah.
You kind of do that with your legs and
Yeah.
you hoik them down. And then you sort of flick them to the side.
Yes.
So I flicked them onto a small pile of laundry that is waiting to be done.
Yes.
I can't find those pants. And I've literally been on my hands and knees now.
Super weird.
And I'm like, where have they gone? They're like surgical flesh colored. You know, when you get those sort of, you go to hospital and you get these sort of beige pants.
Like, yeah.
They're skin,
Nude.
well, my nude color, obviously, they'd have to be a different nude
Ultra
color for my
Caucasian.
son. Yes, but they're very Caucasian pants. And I'm like, and the pile of laundry was black. It was, black shirt that needs washing, black vest. And I'm like, I was on my hands and knees before I went to the lake, looking under the cupboards, and I'm like, where have they gone? I was like, did I flick them in the air? Have they gone high
They
up?
evaporate. They're hanging off the chandelier.
And I've looked everywhere, and
They're
they
nowhere.
have vanished. And now I've got this unnerved feeling of somebody is going to come into this house and they're going to be on the back of the sofa or somewhere that
somewhere inappropriate.
I've looked everywhere. They're nowhere, but they're going to turn up, and they're going to turn up at the wrong time in a weird place. Like they'll be here and I'll go, and I'll be like, what?
What a strange, and everybody's had that experience, by the way.
Of losing a pair of pants.
Well, I don't know about not those. Maybe those pants needed to. Maybe the universe is like, we're done.
No, they're really
We're
nice.
done with nude pants for you.
Nude.
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 Yeah. Well, how fun. What are you making that mean? That
I'm
you've
making
lost
it
your
mean that
pants?
when my friend comes to visit later in the month, terrified she's going to find the pants and think,
If I find them.
ew,
Oh.
what's going on?
I'm
Why are
not
these
staying here. I'll get a
in the
hotel.
fridge? I don't know how they got there. They just vanished.
Oh, shit.
Staying in a hotel.
Oh. Hi.
Hello.
So today
Good
we're going to
morning.
talk about pants. No.
Pants. No,
Talking
we're
about-
going to
Talking about pedestal, putting people on a pedestal, and why we do it, even though we can't admit that we're doing it, and we sometimes do it. We don't even know that we're doing it. It's only after all the things that we look back and we're like, ah, I did it again.
So I have two questions for you.
Please.
I've unhooked my bra. Have you?
I have a sports bra because I'm going to the gym after this, so I can't unhook it.
Okay.
But I can breathe.
Second question is, why does this matter to you?
Oh my God.
Why is this topic of interest?
I had a bit of a breakthrough in my coaching session this week that I don't know if I should tell you the whole, because I'm going to tell the whole story so that there's enough context. So
Okay.
I'm part of a program, and it's the guy that brought me into this program. I like really enjoyed being with him. He kind of sold me on coming into the program because I was like, I don't really want to be a part of this program. He's like, yeah, you do. You'd be great. And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, no, no, come on. So he kind of like was persistent, but in a really playful way, brought me into the program. Once I was in, he just kept believing in me, and he just
Mm,
kept giving me more. And he just kept like offering me this beautiful gift of trust over
mm,
and over and over again. And there were times when I was like, I don't think I can handle this. He was like, sure you can. I know you got this. And what happened was I put him on this pedestal, which is normal for me. Like if somebody in title or in position inside of organization is above me, right? He was the guy
mm,
signing the checks, that then I automatically put him up here. And I found myself going to a place which is very familiar of wanting to gain his acceptance, my people pleasing. I was like the
mm,
golden retriever that like didn't need anything. You can just put me in the trunk as long as I get to go along, right? Um, and the program has since dissolved. He has left. There's a lot of drama involved, but he basically left. And now there's a mess because the program is
right.
still running, but he's gone. And I was talking to my coach about that, and she's like, she said, it doesn't sound like you're letting yourself. She said, how do you feel about that? And I said, oh, I feel let down. And she said, how interesting that you say that, but you're smiling right now. And so I stopped. And I was like, I am smiling. What is that about? She's like, your energy and your words are not matching at all. And then she said, what's that about? And I said, I don't, let me just. So I started like checking in with myself, and it hit real fast. Like I wish we had it recorded. I think we actually do have it recorded. And I was like, oh no. And I started to cry. And I said, here's another man I've put on a pedestal, and he's let me down. And
Mm,
I'm even getting a little emotional now. He's left. He's abandoned me, which is
mm,
a pain point. But of course, when you put somebody in a pedestal, like there isn't any way for them to win because no human is perfect and no human is
mm,
without flaws and mistakes and all the things.
mm,
And it is because I put him on a pedestal that there really wasn't any way for him to win. And I I that was like my big epiphany is that I do that and then I keep recreating. I am I'm recreating disappointment, being let down. I'm doing it with my husband. I've done it with my father. I've done it with this guy. And I'm sure I'm doing
mm,
it other places, right? So why do I put people on a pedestal? Why does that keep happening, right? So that's why it's important to me because it's getting in the way for me, and it's really emotional. It's a there's a very deep pain that I have with it.
mm. I'm curious what you
Mm.
get. I feel like I'm stepping over your tears. I'm not, but
No,
you've
I'm
now
good. Yes.
recovered. Yeah, you've
Yeah.
recovered. So for listeners, she's recovered.
Yes.
Okay, Tracy, she's recovered. I'm curious what you get from putting people on a pedestal. And before you answer, I just want to point out that this person um, kept offering you trust, kept inviting you in, um, was treating you, my interpretation, treating you as an equal, had lots of faith in you, lots of like,
Yeah.
you can do this. I'm so excited about what you can do. So I'm really curious what you get,
Mm.
maybe specifically about him, because that's the most recent piece, but what
Yeah.
you get from putting people on a pedestal.
Um, I think it's something around like responsibility that then I wait for invitation. I wait for them to believe in me. I wait like I'm sitting on the outside. I'm like sitting on the bench and I'm waiting for like coach to put me in the game instead of raising my hand and being like, put me in. I know I can do this. Everything that he gave me, I knew I could do, but I didn't bring it to him. He brought it to me. So I think putting him on a pedestal means I sit and I wait until I'm invited. And I see that in lots of places in my life.
What does that get you then?
Then I don't have to get rejected. I don't have to put my hand up and have people say, nope, not yet, which feels terrible to me. Um, have people say, not right now, not you, whatever. Like it's all flavors of rejection, abandonment, unimportant,
Mm.
which,
So,
yeah,
sorry, carry on.
that those are
Which,
really, those are my like massive fears and insecurities that are way deep down that I've had since I was little, that I was
mm,
overlooked, that I was unimportant.
mm,
So it's my way of not having to be with any of that.
mm. I'm still curious about how putting them, whoever they are, on a pedestal, how does that stop you putting your hand up? What's the relationship between them being on the pedestal and you being able or not being able to put your hand up?
I don't put my hand up. The minute I put him on a pedestal, I didn't have to put my hand up
Why? Like, how come? What is it about him being on the pedestal that means hand can't go up?
because now it's about him saying, okay, now you can go in the game.
So you pedestalizing him
Totally a word.
gives him authority.
Yeah. And it
Okay.
abdicates my responsibility and then I don't have to be courageous. I don't have to find that inner courage to put my hand up and say, I can do this.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I have a different experience.
Do tell.
Or do I? Or do I? Maybe that's not true. No, maybe that's not true. If I put people on a pedestal, I think I look at it more through the lens if I put them on a pedestal and I make them better than me,
Yeah.
which seems different to giving them more authority. It's more about betterness.
Yes.
So I put them on a pedestal, I put someone on a pedestal, make them better than me. They know more.
Hmm.
Actually, they do have more authority because they know more.
Hmm.
And what I do, actually, it's similar. I'm just using different language. I then diminish myself
Yeah. You
in
get small.
relation, yeah, in relation to where I've put them. So I elevate them and I diminish myself.
Hmm.
And I usually do that based on someone's position, job title,
Hmm.
which would automatically indicate that they were in a more senior position. For example, if they're the leader of blah 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 blah, the leader of something, then like, oh, they're the leader and I'm not. Or if they are the CEO of XYZ, like, oh, they're the CEO, I'm not.
Yeah.
So the title is a clue, which I think is actually quite an automatic reaction for me that I
I think
will.
that's pretty human too.
Yeah. Well, it's trained in. I don't know about
Yes.
human, but our human training
Hmm.
would be that this person
Good
has
point.
this position, and therefore um, they know more, they have more authority. So mine is probably similar, but as I said, but I use different language. Um, and then I don't think it stops there for me
Mm.
with me putting someone on a pedestal, because this process of working out where I am in relation to
Yes.
them doesn't stop there.
Yeah. Right.
There will then be situations where I'll make myself up here
Yes. And
and
what does
put
that do for you?
what makes me feel good.
What does it get you?
Well, it makes me feel good, makes me feel superior, makes me feel less stupid. It gets me to feel less stupid.
Yeah,
If I'm comparing myself, because it's all comparative, isn't it? It's kind of like
absolutely.
you're here and I'm here, and now I'm here and this other person is here. But in relation to that person, I'm there and you're here. So it's all kind of this, it's like a map of sliding scales and
Yep.
measurements and height measurements and things. Um, I think it weirdly, the actual whole map, if I pan right out, gives me a sense of that sense of positioning gives me a sense of security
Hmm.
in some situations because I know where I am in the pecking order. I know
Hmm.
where I am. I know what I'm responsible for, what I'm not responsible for. Um, that's not mine. You deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, so it gives me
Roles
some
and
kind of
responsibilities.
roles, responsibilities, and
Sure.
some kind of structure,
Yes.
where and I can place myself within that. Um, and I think when I place myself above others for some reason, whatever the reason is that I do it, what does it get me? It must get me something, Ali, but I'm drawing a blank. What have I said already? It gets me to feel good about myself.
It also gives you permission
To
to do the thing. You are more experienced. You are the lead. You are the whatever your thing is. Now you're up here.
mm.
Everybody else is down here. Now you have permission to lead.
And the interesting thing is, I very rarely feel I have permission to lead.
Yeah.
I very rarely feel, I never feel I've done enough
Yep.
um, to be given a title, a
Hmm.
badge with you know, um, and I think that can be um, a lot of women can have that
Sure.
experience. I remember hearing some research not all that long ago where they said, a man will apply for a job where he's got 30% of what's
Yes.
required
Yes. And women will
in
be
all
like,
areas, job spec, experience,
yes.
person spec. Like, I've got 3 out of 10 here. I'm going to go
Yeah.
for it. Whereas a woman will need 110% before she considers going for it. And I've
Yeah.
I've seen that play out in my own life.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I've seen it come out of the mouths of other women, like, well, I don't really know enough. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Do it
Um,
anyways. Yeah.
yeah, so again, I think that's not innate, in women. I think that's been trained into us
Some of it,
um,
sure.
by society. Um, so I regularly have the experience that, oh no, I don't know enough to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Find myself. So it's almost as if I'm going back into that diminished place. I'm coming from a place of not enoughness and lack when I'm put, which would make
Yeah.
it great and make it, sorry, just to finish the point,
No, you're
make it
fine.
really, really much more comfortable for me to put others in a
Yes.
position of leadership
Yes.
and not want to step forward,
Hmm.
put myself forward.
Yeah.
Mm,
It keeps us safe. Period.
mm,
End of sentence. The reason we do anything, most things,
mm,
especially when it doesn't serve us, is because we're protecting ourselves. Not
mm,
because we suck or that we're jerks or that we're weak or that we're, introverted. Make up, fill in the blank. It's like, hey, at the end
mm,
of the day, I am scared of being rejected and being seen as unimportant or having you tell me no. So I'm not going to put myself out there. And the way because I'm brilliant, the way I'm going to orchestrate the world around me is boop. I'm going to put people above or below me, which then lets me know, like, okay, here I'll step forward because I have permission, because of my title, because of my role, and here I
Mm.
don't. And so the way that I love to, like, I'm playing with this is how do we, excuse me, how do we continue to come energetically from here? Even if my role is president, director, chair, whatever, how do I still be here with people? And for people that can't see, my hands are exactly at the same level versus
Mm.
my hands being one being higher than
Mm.
the other.
Yeah.
Um, it reminds me of a story. I went to see a client yesterday, and she was at the Sphere, the new Sphere in Vegas. Have you seen this contraption? So they built this gigantic sphere in Vegas, and
Mm.
I don't know how to describe it, but on the outside, it's filled with it has moving images that go across the entire sphere, and on the
Mm.
inside, you have the experience that you are like. You can create any experience you want because it's like a planetarium, right? Like a
Mm.
giant one. So you're like in the chair, but you're like on a different in a different world, and they can
Mm.
create that world with graphics and digital graphics. Anyways, it's really cool
Mm.
if you see it.
Mm.
So anyway, she was there, and she's like, it was just so star-studded. It may have been the opening, so that's why she was there. U2 was playing. Like,
Mm.
that's pretty cool. And she's like, there were
Mm.
so many famous people, and she goes, Katy Perry hugged me, and she's like, and then Kate Hudson was right there, and she's like, I got to meet Katy Perry and Kate Hudson. Boom.
Mm.
And it hits me like we immediately make that like who are they and who are they to say hi to little old me? Like I'm a
Mm.
tiny little nobody from
Mm.
Wisconsin, and I got to meet somebody that was larger than life, and she talked to me, and then the other one hugged me.
Mm.
And I think if I were Katy Perry and Kate Hudson, I would see you as another human, right? Like, how do we
Mm.
do that? Even though, yes, they are larger than life and they have experiences, and everybody in the world knows who they are.
Mm.
But if you're Katy Perry, do you walk around the world being like,
I'm
I'm the
Katy
shit?
Perry. Mm.
Or do you walk around the world being like, I want to touch the heart of other humans, every human?
Mm.
Does she see herself this way or not?
Mm. We can't answer that until we get Katie on
If she would just come on the show.
as a guest.
Can you call her? Do you want me to call her?
I'll call her. It's fine. So what I'm noticing as well is, like, what do I get if I put someone on a pedestal?
Yeah.
What they have achieved, I view it in some way as being unattainable.
Yes, good point. That's another one.
And that, what do I get from seeing what they have achieved as being, oh, I could never do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and yes, it diminishes me again, but it also almost gives me an excuse.
It gets you off the hook.
Yeah, it gives me an excuse because they've got some special
Yes.
chromosome, they've got some special
Yeah.
thing that is completely unattainable and beyond. And I will measure it in lots of ways. I'll say, well, they're 27, I'm
Mhm.
104. That means I'm never going to catch up because there are 200 years difference between my experience and their experience. So, well, no point even trying.
There you go. Gets you off the
Yeah.
hook.
Yeah.
It gets us safety, security,
Mm.
protection. It gets
Off
us
the hookiness.
out of
Mm.
trying, taking responsibility, putting ourselves out there. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
It's really brilliant.
Taking
It's like a
responsibility.
win-win for our little,
Yeah.
like,
Little tiny creatures who are living inside us.
that just want,
Yeah.
like, to
Mm.
sit in a nice, soft, cozy, warm place.
Mm. Which is what I want to do a lot of the time, Ali.
Yeah. Well, you
Just
are
want to sit.
104.
I know. I just want to sit under a blanket with a hot water bottle and suck. I'm like soft food.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I hadn't really you know, this kind of putting someone on a pedestal, I hadn't given it that much thought, to be honest, until we started talking
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Tracy will be thrilled to know how much prep goes into
We have
these
no,
podcasts.
there is no prep.
But I'm also thinking about how putting someone on a pedestal and me giving them all of these extra special powers,
Yes.
this special chromosome that I don't have, there's years of uncatch-upable
Yeah. Right.
knowledge, even if they're younger than me. I'm like, well, I can never, it's not, I can't. So all of the things that I imbue them with um, has another effect, which means I I don't want to challenge them. I don't want to challenge their authority. I don't want to challenge their viewpoints. I don't want to be challenging to them in any way.
Hmm.
Um, Particularly from this diminished position. I'm like, well, how could, I might have a thought that is contra to theirs. And,
Yeah.
oh, rather than viewing it as an interesting conversation to be had and to find out more, I'm like,
Yeah.
their view has to be more important than mine. So,
Yeah.
so I don't challenge them, and I don't voice what is coming up
Yeah.
in me authentically or whatever, what
Right.
from my experience.
Right.
I don't share that.
Yep.
So I can become quite voiceless.
And then when we don't get our needs met, right? If we don't
Mm.
advocate, we don't share, we don't challenge, we don't say, hey, I think there's a better way, or hey, have you thought about XYZ or Z? I'm gonna start saying Z.
X, Y, Z.
I st
Yeah, I've lost track of who says what now.
I think it sounds smarter. Smarter.
Smarter.
Um, Shit, I just lost my train of thought.
If we don't challenge.
Ah, um, it does get us part of what we want, which is safety and security, but it doesn't get us what we may need, which is like, I don't think we should make three left-hand turns. I think it would be easier for us to just turn right,
Mm.
for
What do
instance.
we need from that? What is the need in
That then
that?
I
It
don't
doesn't get
have to
us.
like it can have us being more efficient. It could have us creating a better idea. It could have us working smarter versus
Mm,
harder, right? Like there is a reason why I might challenge something. So if we go back to the person who I'd put on the pedestal,
mm,
um, I didn't share my needs with him because I didn't
mm,
want to displease him in any way.
mm.
He's here, I'm here, and I'm
Yeah.
just going to like get myself sorted and make a bunch of different um, changes to my own life so I don't have to actually advocate for what I need.
Yes. Mm,
And that means I don't get my needs met. But I also don't have to do anything scary. So it's
yes.
like, yeah,
Yeah. So
am
it
I
feels
willing?
like a reasonable trade-off.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to think about is that I'm curious about is, so if I'm putting some people on a pedestal, when I have the experience that I am, the authority in the room about something,
Yeah.
how am I viewing the other people?
And
What's my impact
yes,
on them, my unintended impact on
yes,
them, coming from undistinguished thinking
yes.
around who's the authority here, who 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 has the right
Yeah.
to lead, who should be at the back of the room because they don't know the thing yet.
Yeah.
Um,
It
mm,
helps. I'll tell you, it helps me to put people in little boxes because then I can file them. They're now
yes,
categorized in my brain. These people know
yes,
less, these people know a little bit, these people know more, and now everybody's got their ranking, and then
mm,
I can just relate to them that way. What's harder
mm,
is to relate to people through who they are in this world. That's a lot harder.
Yeah, and who they are in the moment, because if we've
Yes.
categorized somebody and we've put them into a box, I don't have to think. I can,
Yes.
the same as I don't really think when I drive my car,
Right.
because I have filed how to drive a car in a box in my brain, and then I just get
Do
in the
it.
car and the box drives the car for me. I don't have to do
Yeah.
any thinking very much.
Right.
Because I can do a bunch of other things. I can, listen to music, pay attention to my thoughts,
Hmm.
whatever.
And
So go.
all of that, being able to be on autopilot in our lives, it is fine. I
Mm,
think where it gets tricky is in our how we be in relationship
mm,
with others. The minute we are now on different
mm,
platforms, pedestals,
mm,
I think that's when we dent and bruise relationship. It's hard to
mm,
connect, it's hard to be with, it's hard to see each other.
mm. Well, I'm not relating to you if I've put you into a default automatic box where I don't need to think about you anymore.
Right. Like
I'm
she's a
not
dumb American.
relating.
Boom.
I don't need to relate to you in the moment. I can just relate to my filed impression of you,
Yep.
as opposed to being in the moment with you.
Do you think I'm a dumb American?
No, I put you on a pedestal, Ali.
Oh, I'm a smart American.
You're a
I'm an
smart
amazing.
American. Yeah, I put you on a pedestal because of
Yeah.
all of the things you've achieved.
Yeah.
So I look at your resume, I look at
Yeah.
your list of things, and I'm like when you invited me to do the podcast, I was like, do you mean me? I was really
I love
dumbstruck. I
that.
was like, what? You know,
You know you're talking to Mia, right?
yeah, did you email the right person? Did you ring the right friend? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Not you, Mia. Yeah, so I put I it's actually changing.
Mm.
You are going down in my estimations. More time I
Thank
spend with
you.
you. No,
I'm
that's a
thrilled. Please.
but yes, I definitely have put you on a pedestal. And originally, when I would tell anyone about you, I told them about your resume.
Yeah.
That's how. And I've noticed recently, I have referred to you to two separate people as my grubby friend who wants to sit in the woods. So actually, that's your your face.
Grubby.
Yeah, well,
Grubby
that's because that was
friend.
yeah, well, that was the word you used the other day. You were kind of like, oh no, I'm fine. We can get muddy and
The
grubby and
word was
dirty.
I'm your dirty friend because you don't have to clean your house for me.
Oh, not
Grubby
grubby.
is
Does grubby
like
mean something else?
I'm
Does grubby mean something else?
never showering. The entire time I'm visiting you, I'm not showering.
No, well, you
Now I
said you
don't
don't
have
really
to.
shower, you just
I'm
rinse.
not just dirty. I just rinse anyways, but yeah,
Yeah,
barely.
just
Okay,
look
keep
at the
going.
water. Oh my God, I remember a friend of mine, her son went through a phase. He was in his early teens. He was like, I'm not showering, it's not cool. So he would go in the
My
bathroom,
son's still there.
he would turn the shower on because
Yeah.
she'd be listening, and he'd be like, she thinks I've had it. She caught him. She was like, why? He was like, no, I'll he was putting the shower on, so she
But
thought
not
he'd had a
showering.
shower, but not actually
All
showering.
the
She obviously
effort.
caught up with the smell, and she was like, "You're really not showering."
Yeah.
But the way I'm describing you, I can see in this conversation, it's helping me to see that it's changed. So my relationship with you has moved from pedestalization, which is definitely a word now,
Yeah.
from putting you on a pedestal to seeing you more truly and more fully, not
Mm,
just as your resume, your job title, your label, whatever it might be. But in this case, it was your resume of brilliant, shiny things you'd done.
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this brilliant person with all these shiny things they've done has asked me to do a podcast with them. Wow. But it's definitely, that balance is definitely changing. I'm coming closer. I think there's still a whiff of me putting you on a pedestal.
Mm,
but it's there far less often, particularly when we're in conversation. Do you
I'm
need to go and
super
do
sorry.
something?
No, I'm sorry. Can you just give me a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go on.
Can you give me a minute? Yeah, so that's just interesting to note that as I build relationship, I'm going to broaden that out into, I don't know if it's a rule, but broaden it out into something that, perhaps as I build relationship
Yeah.
with someone, I'm then able to relate to them more as who they truly are, as opposed to their resume.
So I love that you use the word resume because I was just listening to Outlive, which is a book by Dr. Peter Attia, and he talks about longevity or whatever. But at the end, he goes into his own, he said, if you decide you want to live to 100, that's fine. But if you're miserable, why bother, right? So he goes into how important emotional health is. At the very last chapter, it's really compelling. And in that chapter, he reads a book, The Road to Character, I think is what it's called. And in that book, the author talks about resume virtues versus eulogy virtues.
Ooh.
And I've written a post about it. It'll be coming up in October for any of you who follow me.
Oh, I'll keep an
In
eye
my
out for it.
newsletter, all three people on my email list will get the newsletter. And what he's talking about is like we can never have enough of what we don't need, right? So I can get more letters behind my name. I can achieve more things. I can put more stuff on my resume. And I'm never going to be satisfied because that's not what I need. I don't need more money. I don't need a bigger house. I'll do those things and then like I'll be happy for a second. But then it's like, shit, now I'm back to the same place. The eulogy virtues are the things that really fill my soul. How do I make people feel? Can I deeply connect with people? I'll just share something with you. It hit me because yesterday I had somebody reach out to me who I had worked with a while back, and I wasn't sure why she wanted to talk. She said, could we just hop on a call? So we got on the phone, and at the end of that call, she said, Allison, I love you. And I said, well, I love you too. And she said, I feel safe saying that to you because I feel like you get it. You get that I love you. And I was like, I totally do. And we're not, we don't, I don't know her that well. And yet she said that. And that person, I had accidentally butt dialed a different person because they have similar last names. So I was going to call this first person who said, I love you. And I accidentally called this other person and she didn't answer, thank God. And I was like, oh my God, wrong person. But then later on that evening, this other person who I butt dialed called me. And she's like, and I haven't talked to this person in like 6 years. Super weird. And I didn't leave her a voicemail. I was just like, oh
She was
shit.
like, what do you need? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I answered the phone like I do. Oh my God. And she goes, you butt dialed me. And I'm like, I totally did. You have a similar last name. And I said, but now that we're on the phone, we talked for 30 minutes. I haven't talked to her in a really long time. And at the end, she goes, Austin, I really love you. And I thought, those are the eulogy virtues. She doesn't give a shit about my income, the car I drive, the accomplishments, my GPA, my IQ, none of it. Her heart feels me. That's getting this pedestal thing and throwing out and being like, I don't give a fuck if you're Katy Perry or, the person who cleans the toilets. I want every person I come into contact with to feel me and to feel seen.
That's such a lovely place to kind of bring it to. That's say them again, eulogy or
Resume virtues.
resume. So it was resume virtues or eulogy. Yeah. That's just such a lovely place to kind of like end the conversation.
Yes.
I feel like we've solved it.
Oh, we totally did.
Yeah,
Done.
I feel like we've solved
We have the answer.
yeah, I find that really interesting. Like it's a different way to relate to people. because I do, I will be putting people on a pedestal because of the car they have. So it's
Yeah,
other things as well.
me
It's not
too.
just the label. It will be like, oh,
How about when someone's super duper good looking? I can't make eye contact sometimes when people are so
I
good
don't
looking.
have that because I have this thing where I think I'm really beautiful. So I don't have that with people because I mean, I'm clearly going blind. So it's quite horrific when I actually put my contact lenses in. I'm like, oh, okay.
Take those back out.
The mirror is lying to me. But I don't have it with beautiful people particularly because
Oh,
I
I
seem
do.
to have this weird thing. But, I will look at people who have a better car.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I'm even considering it a better car, and I will be like, they're doing better at life than me.
Yes.
So I immediately put them on a pedestal. They're here, they're doing better at life than I am, and I am here.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny. I also do it, and we can end, but just one more
Yeah,
place.
sorry, I wrapped it up and then I was like, open it up again.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then and then
Yeah.
if a woman is more physically fit than me.
Oh, yes, I have that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that. I make that mean that they're more. I give them a whole pile of
Me
characteristics
too.
that I don't have. They're more
Yes.
determined.
Yes.
Um, they're just a better human
Yes.
because they
Yeah.
get down to
Of
the
course
gym
they
and
are.
they put the time in.
And
So
they're
they're a
put
better
together.
human, yeah, than
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
because they have the discipline, the determination, the drive to
Clearly,
actually make that
yep.
happen to their body.
Yeah. And I'm a lazy piece of shit.
Yes.
Hmm. Funny.
Mm.
Funny the things we do in our minds.
Yes, the things we think. Yeah. Yeah. And we have, I mean, I know you kind of said, yeah, in some instances, but a lot of that I believe has been trained into us. So
Sure.
I really like the idea of I really want to have a look at this eulogy thing. Can you put the name of that book
The
in
notes
the notes below
below.
this?
Do we point?
Yeah.
Are the notes below in YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Find it here. Okay, hold on. Let me make a
Yeah.
note. The book. The book.
Mm.
It is, I will say it again, The Road to Character by David Brooks.
Okay.
But
And
I'm going
he
to put,
mentions it. Yeah.
he
So, and
talks
that's
about
mentioned in your other book, which is
the other book, which is
Outlive.
Outlive. So
Mm.
books, which is also a great book.
So
All
what
right.
have you taken? What's your key takeaway? Is there a key
Yeah,
takeaway
let's
for
do
you?
takeaways.
Let's do takeaways. Takeaways.
Takeaways. That putting people on a pedestal. My dog, she's really excited. You heard her come in. Here comes the other one. I have to trim their nails. That's my key takeaway. I need to get rid of my dogs.
I
You can
didn't
see
know
his
you had
tail.
to.
Look at him right now. Um, that putting people on a pedestal, we do it because it works really, really beautifully for us. It's a really brilliant way of serving me to keep myself small and to not expose myself, and then to get me off the hook to change anything about me.
Mm. Mm.
How about you, Mia?
My key takeaway is that putting someone on a pedestal not only diminishes me, but it diminishes them because I'm looking at them
Yes.
through the lens of resume
Yeah.
rather than looking at them through the lens of eulogy, let's
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
eulogy virtues.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I hadn't quite clocked that there might be an impact for them, just that there would be an impact for me.
Yeah. They don't get to win.
No, so I'm seeing that there's an impact.
Hmm.
Mm,
Well done. High
mm.
five. Give it. Oh, that's 10. Boink. All right. Well done, lady. I'm going to stop
Cool.
recording.
Stop it.
Sayonara.
Stop it.